There's 6 conversations. The reason there's 6, I couldn't ever remember 7. These conversations all are based on being personal with each other. A conversation makes me anxious, all right? And a conversation that's ambiguous. I don't know where we're going. People say all the time, what do you mean by that? And the answer is exactly. The first one is invitation. That I want to be in a room where people were invited to be there. They're not mandated to be there. And I have to deal with that. So every time we want to organize something in a school or in a neighborhood or in a business, I want to think, well, how do I invite people so they have a choice to say no? And say no directly, because people know how to say no 1,000 ways. My old story says, I can't say no. If I work for you, I can't say no. That's just a story. And when I make an invitation, I want there to be a hurdle. We want you to come this night, this day, this afternoon. There's so many people coming. If you care about this, come. If you do come, you will be asked to engage with other citizens in deciding how to create an alternative future. So they know they're signing up for something. They're not going to be entertained. So invitation versus mandate. Most change management believes you need top management, you need leadership. I want the mayor to do something about racism. I want the mayor to do something about displacement. I want the mayor to do something about my taxes. I want top management to do something. And so we have these change management things and they cascade down through the organization like some warm flowing water and say we're going to take this vision at the top and then cascade it down, a Hawaiian strategy. All this is manipulation. It's mandate in a soft, loving, warm Hawaiian form. And so conversation is one, is come. If you come, something will be required of you. What's required is you're going to have to engage in small groups and talk to other people. You don't start with the people that need it the most. You start with the people that are willing to come. And they will influence. So you start with the early adopters. Please come to this. And then they'll reach each other in ways that leadership can never reach. And so all of this, no matter what you have in mind, you're trying to get peers together to save my life, to save my child, to save my business. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, it takes a crisis to do that. But the invitation is a symbol for how do we get people together in a way they can say no. So 5 committed people who show up, meet the hurdle, are gold, which means that you can't judge impact if you're talking about transformation by scale. The second conversation is the possibility conversation. Most of us come together for problem solving. All I want to do is problem solve. I want to make a list. When are we going to get practical? And so the notion, quick practicality, is hostile to transformation. It's hostile to my changing my story, because my story is, I don't have enough time. My story is, all I am is a problem solver. I'm not useful if I'm not a problem solver. If I don't have a solution, what am I doing on earth? And so that doesn't take us anywhere. All problem solving does is make tomorrow a little better than yesterday. That's not a real change. And so the alternative is to say, what's the possibility that I choose, that I am a stance to live into at this moment? And you can't be realistic with the possibility. If the possibility is achievable, it's not a possibility, it's a goal. The introduction of possibility is the best question in the world, which is what's the crossroads you're at this stage of your life? And some people say, oh, my life is great. My childhood is perfect. My life right now, I've been married for 144 years. Everything's just fine, you know, and we haven't had an argument in 62 years. The crossroads question questions that story. You are fine, you are doing well, there's nothing wrong with you, but the notion that there's no pain and suffering, people my generation say, oh, my kids are grown. Wait a second, these are all my children. What do you mean your kids are grown? And so the question, what's the crossroads you're at this stage of your life? Powerful question. Some people may not be at a crossroads, and then you thank God, for this too shall pass. I have to create some ground rules for how we're going to have a conversation with strangers that we've never had before. And one of the ground rules is you do go with a stranger. Find somebody that you don't know in this room. Oh, but we've known each other forever. No, you haven't. You know some people less well than you know other people in this room. Sit with them. And it's always in threes. And the reason for threes is very simple. It's small enough that there's no place to hide. You get 4, 5, 6, some people say, oh, I'm fine. Would you like to say something, Peter? No, I talk too much, so I'm going to sit here. And that's just looking for an exit. You say, find somebody in this room that you know the least, because then I have a chance to be surprised, and don't wait to be chosen. Now, however you handle this moment is the way you're managing your life. That's the beauty of these conversations and these instructions. Some people spending their life standing up, holding on to their old story, waiting for somebody to come to them. And if you break them in groups of 3, people say, it's not what I came for. And I say, I know it's not what you came for. Eye contact. Break them into groups of 3. I didn't come here to meet your expectations because they're too small. We worship too small a God, the way we run our schools, the way we run our businesses. Third conversation is a conversation of ownership versus blame. The dominant narrative is somebody else is at fault. The purpose of journalism, investigative journalism, is to find out who we can blame today. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. With all the internet journalism, you find out a week later, oh, that wasn't true, oh, I'm sorry. And so the idea of blame keeps me frozen in my own old story. My blaming others makes them cause and me effect. There's no agency in a blame conversation. It's just if we're going to be together and talk about what we want to create in this institution or this place or this neighborhood, blaming people takes me nowhere. It deepens my passivity. It kills my agency. And so the alternative is ownership. And a beautiful question is, so for the things you're complaining about, what are you doing to contribute to the very problem you came here to solve? And one vivid example, I was on a safety committee. We planned some safety meetings. We were getting 20, 30 people out. And then Saturday night in my neighborhood, there was a shooting. Nobody died, but somebody was. We had 140 people show up on Tuesday, the pre-scheduled meeting. The police were there. The news was there. What are we going to do about this crime wave? And I was running the meeting. I was a little nervous about running the meeting. And I finally said, we're not here to talk about what the police can do. We're here to talk about what we can do and what we are doing to create this neighborhood that we're a part of. Break into groups of 3. What are you talking about, man? And if you just make eye contact and don't move your head, okay. Now, sometimes you have to herd them like a sheepdog. Could the 2 of you sit with that person? In 5 minutes, they were in groups of 3 and 4. The police were sitting in small groups with the neighborhood. The news media were long gone. And I said, when did you first start caring about this neighborhood? So you come up with a question of commitment. What choices are you making about how you show up here and care for the well-being of this whole neighborhood? Everything changed. It changed the whole way of being together. Police didn't have to defend themselves. They weren't at fault. God bless them for what they do.